Right. How's the boys?
Ready when you are, mate.
Fire away.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Celtic Unrestricted View podcast. My name is Ryan Clifford. Well, it's a very, very positive podcast again this week for us, lads. Joining me this week is Sam and JP once again. On this episode, that we're focusing obviously the win against Hibernian at Hampden, the Cup final, Premier Sports Cup final. Look forward to the game tomorrow against Mirren, and obviously the latest COVID news which came out today, which again, a lot of opinions on Twitter, and I think we have the same opinions today. It could be very varied opinions. But JP, as I say, mate, very, very positive weekend for us. Fantastic victory to get our first silverware basically for last season. So we're kind of back on that perspective. What was your feelings after the game, mate? And I like to think it was very, very positive.
First of all, good evening, lads. I don't know about you boys, but I've just not stopped smiling at all for the last Wednesday night. What the Joker? My jaws are absolutely killing me. No, really, I don't think I've felt this good in a long, long time, to be honest with you, for numerous of different reasons. One being, obviously, to come up with that winner at Ross County when everybody, you know, you get the texts coming through in the chat, that's the season finished, and this is it, it's all over. And the wee clip, they think it's all over. It is now. Livingston Cedar. Beauty. Superb. Set us up brilliantly for the weekend, and then obviously into the weekend, and not just obviously winning the final, but I thought the overall performance of the team was really good in the final. Especially when you look at the last final we played at Hampden. We weren't there. We just never turned up at all that day. And it was great to see. I think what made it even sweeter was the fact that the wee man came back into the team for been out a couple of games, and he just, whether he was fit or not, I mean, you hear Anne saying he wasn't 100%, and whether he was or not, but my God, what the two finishes were unbelievable. He just shows again what he means to the squad, and you know what he can bring to the team, especially when you look at. I've heard Celtic fans the last couple of weeks going, he's not going to be in games. I don't care if it doesn't need to be in the game for me if he's got to do that all the time. That is unbelievable. The first touch, McGregor's first and foremost, McGregor's pass, when we take centre, there's a couple of passes, then McGregor gets the ball and he looks up over the top. His first touch to kill that is absolutely unbelievable. Because if you watch, the ball's actually behind him, and he gathers it with his left and puts it in front of himself to set him up for the shot. And then the second one is just Larson-esque, if you ask me. He has a wee glance. He's so clever and so quick, and so his movement is so ferocious. He takes a wee glance. He's that clever. He's actually had a glance before Porteous or Hanlon even know what's going on. He's had a glance to see what's happening with the goalie now. And he knows right away, after that ball takes another bounce, he knows what he's doing, which is lifting that right at the top of that goalie. And where I was, obviously Hampden, I knew that was in straight away as soon as he hit that. Because the goalkeepers made it even more easier. He's gave him the target to hit. But overall feeling, Ange's only been here for 6 months. What he inherited, we've spoken about in previous pods, to what he's actually achieved with the squad. And people are saying, the squad is at a bare thin, and we've not got a lot of depth, and my God, what that group of players have achieved in such quick succession over 6 months actually scares me to see. Gave him a couple of seasons together, a couple of years together, to fully develop together. What they're then going to go and achieve, do you know what I mean?
As you say, mate, the fact that I know you'll get fans for Scotland or the other side of the city saying that he's 4 points or whatever, but is behind still. But you've got to take it from the point of view for where we've came from, basically a season that we kind of forgot about now. It's out my memory now. That wasn't Celtic. That wasn't. It was a season where, if my opinion, if COVID wasn't there, it'd have been a totally different situation. I know every team's got COVID there, but it obviously impacted us in a way where it stopped us from doing a lot of things. So you take out of consideration what Ange, as he says, inherited from the start of the season. He's come in and bought 12 or 13 players, probably players that he didn't even know right away who were coming in because he came in at a short period of time. He's leaving a backroom staff that's his, but it seems to be that he's maybe enjoying the backroom staff because they all seem to be together. There's no mention about Kennedy and Stratton being scapegoats this season, which proves it probably wasn't nothing to do with him last year. It might have been just been a manager or the board. We don't know what it obviously was. But as JP says, Sam, for what we've came for the summer, some days would have expected maybe to be run about where we are. Some fans would have been nowhere near where we are. So you've got to take it for the start of the season to now, first trophy in the bag. You've done no the best in Europe, but you've got some good performances, some positives in Europe. You're still in Europe, might not be the competition you want, but you're still in Europe. Players like Kyogo, Jota, Joe Hart, they're all starting to perform. First trophy for the season is a big positive, Sam. So it's a very, very positive start to, I would say, the first 6 months, 5 months of Ange's reign.
I totally, and as JP said, like what he inherited and obviously what he oversaw in terms of arrivals and departures for the club is frightening, because obviously I think I can speak for all three. We probably didn't anticipate when Ange came in to now being the way we are. I didn't anyway, but I'm not. As I've said before, I'm more than happy to eat my words, and just the whole Europe part. I always say I don't mind us playing well and get up against the likes of, for example, like the Leverkusen, your Betis, and then like losing. But if we play well, and that's exactly what we've done. We went toe-to-toe with the best teams in Europe and still gave them a game. When you look at last year, I know obviously it was forgotten about, but how dreadful we were last year to now. It's night and day. And obviously the revelations of Kyogo and Jota and everything, and it's just, mate, it's frightening, honestly. And talking about obviously the cup win, it lays down a marker for the season, because we've won the first trophy of the season. Obviously, I want to stay, and I think we will, but it just depends on how the rest of the season goes. But mate, it's absolutely night and day.
It's massive night and day, mate. And as she says, the first trophy of the season, it is a marker. And for me, JP, the fact that we've got a trophy under the belt, and I noticed after the game as well. Some games normally I just go after the game, 3 points, we've won. But we stayed after the game, and you just seen it wasn't relief. It was just a team again. It was a team again. Even though it doesn't matter how we won the game, if we won 7-0 or 1-0 in our own goal, the celebrations at the end, it was. I'm not saying Celtic are back, but I was like, we've got a club back again, now. You've got a result. I believe, Sam. A bit of resilience. They're all in together. You've got the guys like Hart, Arthur Nutt. Like, he's won Premier Leagues and he's played how many games for England, and he's celebrating like a wee boy on the park. That's what, for me, that's what footballers are about. That's what happens. You can go and play with Crystal Palace like Edouard's about to, or Bournemouth like Chris is about to. But winning trophies, for me, mate, it's the pinnacle of anybody's career. I know he can make all this money, but you know yourself, JP, any level of football, winning trophies, it doesn't matter if it's a league or what Rangers fans or Celtic fans or whoever fans of Scotland call this cup a Diddy Cup. In the day, mate, it's part of a treble, but we have won 4 times, which no other team I might never see happen in my generation. It's actually an anniversary. We've done that recently, so it's winning trophies, mate. It's a big thing.
Absolutely, and our club's synonymous with winning. We've been renowned for years now. That's in our DNA, right? That, you know, we're a dominant force in this country. And people can have their own views on that and their own opinions and say, you know, well, we don't really play anybody, or it's a Mickey Mouse league, or blah, blah, blah. But listen, you can only beat what's put in front of you. And that's what Celtic's requirement is in order to be successful for its own supporters. Regards to people saying that, it's easy to say it's a Mickey Mouse Cup when your team's not there anymore. And for me, that's just a stupid, bitter way of spinning it. It's easy to say that when your team's not sitting in the cup final and you're in the house watching River City's omnibus. Do you know what I mean? It's when other teams are about to cup finals and fans are about to cup final day outs and stuff like that. So it's easy to say, it's easy to say stuff like that. And being in cup finals and stuff like that's no for everybody, as we've saw. I think certain individuals need to have a long, hard look at, what's going on with them rather than Celtic were in the final for a reason. It was because they deserved to be there and they got out in the final and they produced the goods on the day that got them the victory.
As you say, mate, the fact as well is, take away COVID, we've basically been in every cup final since 2011 or something. So that tells you, and it doesn't matter if Rangers won the third division, playing in the Petrol Tank Cup, as Big Chris something would call it. It doesn't matter. As you see, you've got to be what's in front of you. And the fact that we've been in a lot of finals, basically since our finals and semis, and basically been challenging every way for basically Martin O'Neill's era. As you say, mate, it's installed in Celtic to win. And even I like McGregor's interview after it as well. He knows they're nowhere near where they want to be. Yeah. You're kind of seeing a bit of, how would I say it? You're kind of seeing a twinkle in some of the players' eyes, like they know something's building here, that they know they're not at the levels anywhere near where I think the squad might get to.
No, definitely no. And I think that what was even more evident in Sunday there was the fact that there was a lot of emotion after the game for numerous of different things. Obviously, one being McGregor's first time as a Celtic captain. He's won the first trophy that he's, had a chance to play for. Another one is press, media, opposition teams, fans, people. When the manager was announced as a Celtic manager, there's even a great video going about. It's for Talk Sport and Alan Brazil, sort of, who is this guy? This is going to be a joke. I mean, he's not even got a UEFA badge. He's not got this, not got that. So, as I say, Ange just shut a lot of them up, and he was quite right within his own rights. I think to get his wee dig in about, some of you must have had, I think he made a comment about the throwing numbers out of a hat or something like that, and he said some of you probably even had December as, when my time was going to be up. Little did they know they'd beaten Humble Pie right now, and lots of custard with it as well. But that's what happens when you do your talking on the pitch, mate, and others do their talking through media and social media.
And you talk about custard, mate. I think it's Marks and Spencer's special custard, because it's a lot of custard so far, mate. I know we're behind in the league, but trophies well important, in my opinion, right now. Getting a trophy. I think, Sam, see if he says to most Celtic fans, consider them where we came from. Obviously, you still believe, no matter who you sign and who's a manager, you still believe that you're still the best team in Scotland, you're still going to win the league. But the fact we've came from where we have, to still really no playing at our best yet, and we're still nip and tuck until basically Christmas time, and a trophy, you'd have probably took it for a lot of kind of positivity, because we weren't expecting to be as far as ahead as we were under Ange right away.
No, I totally agree. I would have put your phone off it anyway if you told me that, because looking at where we were going into that season, even before Ange was appointed, you were like, Christ, we'd be lucky if we even get anywhere close to like a semi-final or a final. But the fact he's obviously come in, obviously, because it's evident he wasn't the first choice that the board wanted. But looking back on it, I still would have, now that after sort of looking into him, I would have took it because he's obviously got credentials. You don't get to manage a national team for nothing, regardless of what national team it is. But as you say, we're not playing our best, but we're still winning games. And that, to me, is a mark of, I know we're no champions now, but it's a mark of a champion. You can get a win and grind out a win regardless. So,
Sam, he must have been one of the. He must have been one of the a list on a short list anyway, because I think it was one of his fan. I can't remember what one it was. I think it was one of the fan medias. I can't remember who it was that asked him. It was a female. I remember a female's voice asking him the question because she'd found out some information about it and she just wanted clarification for him. And he never, I thought maybe he would have, tried to sidestep it, hands, but he doesn't. He just gives you straight answers and that's it. But he was asked about Celtic approaching him after Brendan left, before they brought Lennon back in, even as an interim. And he said, yeah, that was the case, but he'd already taken on another project and wanted to see it through. So he was very calm with Celtic, and Celtic were brilliant with him. Celtic never showed him any, this will be your one and only chance, by the way, you'll not be getting another chance. So I think just as you said that there, buddy, regarding, maybe it wasn't their first choice, he must have been certainly someone, that in and about the club knew of for quite some time.
Oh, but I didn't know that, to be fair, about obviously after Lennon, but if that's the case, in fair dues, but at the time, obviously, the number one target was Eddie Howe, so that's who.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also agree with that.
I think that's who we wanted, and then obviously at the last minute that fell through. So, but like I said, I would have now knowing who Ange is and who he's managed, and whatever. I couldn't ask for them to better, to be honest. And like I said, long may it continue.
It's definitely. It's not just the fact he's a manager, Sam. I think he's bringing in players at the moment that get Celtic, get the fans, and get everything else. And I know last season, because he obviously COVID, there was no fans, so it's hard for the players to relate to the fans. But I think this year you're seeing the fans and the players come together in a way. You're not forgetting about what's happened board level, but because the players and the manager are acting on behalf of the board, you're kind of sidestepping the board and just focus on the football in the moment. And Andrews, personally, for me, Sam, he's kind of acting on behalf of everybody in the club. He's basically the figurehead now. Forget about your Dermot Desmond. He's not been seen since 2006. As far as I'm concerned, mate, he's just somebody in the background at the moment. Until he comes out and says something, we don't know really who he is at the moment because he's doing other things. But I think the fact as well, as soon as Eddie Howe was told or said he wasn't coming, he was even money favourite in Sky Bet. So it was always probably in the pipeline somewhere, because you know yourself, Sam, I'm not sure if you're a bet man or no, but 9 times out of 10, these things don't just pop up. Bookies don't get a lot of things wrong. So the fact that he was up right away, he was obviously in there in some capacity. But obviously, looking at the final, Sam, you obviously the goal that Hibs obviously. In fact, I want to talk about the first 2 minutes of the game. The assault that John Beaton seen and gave it nothing. Free kick, nothing. No booking, mate. And for me, I even said to Robert, and when it happened, that set the stall for the game. How did he miss that? And I couldn't believe it. And I've watched it back. See if we didn't win that game, or we didn't. That would have been a talking point. That I'm not saying it was a red card, but it was a very, very late tackle. And how he didn't get booked, Sam, for me, I can't remember who the player was because I was too busy shooting at the referee because it was a shambles.
It was Lewis Stevenson's tackle on Abada.
Aye, that for Sam, for me, mate. I don't know what you think it, but that could have been setting the stall for the game because it was a shocking tackle.
Aye, as you say, it was shocking because I was trying to get the fortunate circumstance of going to the game to watch it. So even watching it in the telly, even Michael Stewart said it. He said, "How's that not? How's that no?" Obviously, he gave it to a foul, but he's like, "How's that no ending there?" He's like, "Because he's like, right, fair enough. It took only 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes into the game." He said, but if you're getting that as a foul and nothing more, then, as you say, you're setting the precedent for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
For tackles that to go under the radar. And I was looking back and I was thinking the same. I was just like, what? And it was what, I'm not saying he had a terrible game, right? He get obviously decisions rang that obviously I'm more than likely going to, but it's just that one in particular. I was just like, you need to stamp your authority in the game there and then.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I'm not going to get into it, but we all know what John Beaton's like. So it didn't surprise me that he didn't get it. But again, I was just like, you need to, as I said, you need to stamp your authority. Because like it baffles me thinking about it. Because he goes right through him. It's not as if he can go right, he maybe gets the ball and then obviously gets the man. But mate, I was laughing at it because I was just like, you need to keep that.
No, mate, honestly, I don't know what you think at JP, but it did kind of, for me, set tones for games. And see if that's in the 60th minute, that's a yellow card, borderline red card. So why is it not in the first 2 minutes? Is it because it's a cup final, he's not want to get players pressurised already? But it doesn't matter if it's the first minute or the last minute. A foul's a foul. If it's a dangerous tackle, it's got to be worthy of what it merits. It's a boot.
Definitely. He can't say he never seen it because he pulls him back to have a word with him. So he must have saw something to know that, that was a nasty one.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show what we've been saying the last couple of weeks. We've actually only just started chatting about it on the pods the last couple of weeks. And it needs to be highlighted because see, whenever any of us do it wrong, we get into trouble for it.
Mm-hmm.
So why should they be any different? They should be held accountable to explain what else did you see there that you, like, the whole stadium, maybe I saw something different.
Mm-hmm.
Even Hibs fans were saying it was a really bad challenge and, you could be looking at a red, possibly, but at least a yellow minimum. It was horrendous because had that have affected Abada in a way that Abada would have had to have an off, what would have happened then? So we're just allowed to just rattle players and injure them and play just goes on, or all right, we'll get a foul, but nothing else happens. And that's what seems to be happening. Against Celtic, the other teams, as it appears, and by the way, there's plenty of evidence to back up what I'm just about to say here. You're getting 1 and 2 hits on a Celtic player now before you're sometimes even getting a telling off or a talking to you. And then eventually the ref kind of go, all right, I need to book him now as if this is his third or fourth time. The boy knew. He must have done about 6 fouls in the first half. He wasn't yellow carded for any of them. The one that a lot of people are making a big deal of, and that maybe I am making too much of a big deal of it, is he actually kicks out at McGregor. McGregor runs by him and starts to cut across him. We're on the break, we're on the counter. I think Juranovic won the ball and he gave the ball to McGregor and McGregor goes a run and he cuts across him and he kicks out at him. He actually takes a swipe at him and McGregor goes to Beaton and says to him, he's just had a swipe at me there. And Beaton just kind of does that. We see as if, no, I've never seen that there, or no, I'm not doing anything about it. But you look into the game and all, there wasn't just that. So, we probably feel quite lucky in a sense that, I don't know, but it's probably one of the underperformances he's put in for me in a Celtic jersey, to be honest. I thought Starfelt was probably what the main man that wasn't maybe at the races all game. I wouldn't say he was shocking, but he was certainly. There was a couple of moments to get my heart was in my mouth.
Second half, I thought it was poor.
Yeah, but the decision to
I'm like, come on.
He actually missed it. See, we watched that, Sam. He actually missed things out, and then by the time he tries to recover, Big Nisbet's in full flow. But at that point, he's nutmegged him. He's went running him again. So, I thought Big Vickers had to sort of work a double shift to help both of them, and quite a few times at the weekend. But the one, I don't know what he's thinking of, like, and we are shouting for VAR, But if with VAR, I'm afraid that was a penalty when he actually does it with his two hands and he more or less punches Porteous in the back and shoves him.
You're spot on.
Potentially we've got one as well. If you look at the one with Paul McGinn, I actually never saw that till I get home. There was people on social media saying Celtic's had a penalty, and I'm going, can't remember any cries for a penalty. And where I was in the section I was at, we never seen that on Greg Taylor. We were up the other end. So, but when I seen Paul McGinn dragging his studs down the back of Greg Taylor's Achilles, that's a Stonewall penalty. And possibly a caution for Paul McGinn. I think McGinn needs to be careful as well, because he's one of the ones after the game that's shouting about inept referees and this and that and the next thing. And he was nasty himself, Paul. No mention of that when he was speaking about things that maybe didn't go Hibs' way.
Not obviously as well. The offsides that supposedly happened, Sam. We were at the game, right? And me personally, I may as well just get to it since we're on referees, right? I thought the referee and the linesman were very, very flaggy happy at the weekend for both teams. There was 2 or 3 times where Kyogo, because he's so quick in his movement, they think he's offside, and he was never offside in 2 or 3 opportunities. I even watched him back when I came home. He's never off, and he's like offside. And I'm sitting in the game, you can see he's no offside. And you're like, this is just getting beyond a joke now. I understand they've got to call it for their eyes, basically, their view, but I don't know what you think. Obviously, there was Hibs fans were saying Kyogo was offside, Sam. They're trying to take that away from the fact, Sam, that he scored 2 exquisite goals. I'm actually very impressed with the first one, Sam, because he took it down. It was the way he took it down. It was like it just spun back on him, and it was just effortless. And that came at him at pace. There was fog, so even we could hardly see the goal. And he's brought that down, and he's done the goal like it was fully fit. It was sharp. It was clinical, and it just shows you, Sam, what he brings to us. When I'm not going to say he's the catalyst to what we need, but in the same breath, we do need him because he brings a lot to what we need today.
I totally. It's just, he's unreal because, as you say, 2 of the goals were exquisite, but it's just, as you say, it's the way he brings the ball down, and just as Stripey said earlier, it's just the way he kills it there, and then to take the pace out of the ball, to then obviously run and put it past Macy. And then I think I've watched the second goal back at least about 10 or 15 times already, but it's just how he, like, when Rogic plays the ball and he just controls it and then just thinks it at him. And because he has when he's running away, he has a quick check back just to make sure, and then that's when he starts going for it and obviously celebrating. But I think it's one of the ones. I think we can still win a game. We've proven we can still win a game without him, but we're just so much better when he's in the team, because, as we've said in previous podcasts, he leads to the front. Like, his pressing will encourage other players to come up and do it with him. Mm-hmm. Like, even you're getting Tom Rogic, who we all know isn't in years gone by, his fitness, he's not that type of player that he can press for 50, 55 minutes a game. He's even doing it now. Mm-hmm. Kyogo's just exquisite, and I've run out of things to say about him because he's just that good. It's frightening, his ability.
See, on Rogic, you're saying there, Sam, do you know, I think as well, because Kyogo's doing that, the team have got to do that. See, like, if you've not got a striker who's no pressing, the midfield are like, well, why should we pressing away if we've not got that there? But the fact he's doing it, the team has to move up. So when he moves up to go there or shut a guy down, your wingers need to press up, your right backs need to press up, you need to move up as a team. And that's why having somebody like him, for me, gives you that advantage, because as much as Abada will run and chase channels, his movement's no a striker's movement, but Kyogo's, he knows what he's doing. And the fact as well, Sam, the fact that that's him, I don't think he was even anywhere near 70%. I think he was basically playing on his toenails. Honestly, mate, I don't think he was fit because you seen him. He was only doing wee bursts. He was very intelligent. He was walking about the park. He was just picking his moments when to go. And against Sam, that's somebody who knows he's intelligent and he knows when to run, when to move, when to take the ball in, when to not to exert himself. And I think we've missed that. Last season we missed that, and you can see now what he brings to the squad.
I totally just say I don't even think he was anywhere near fully fit, because I think Ange came out and said that he was basically playing on one leg because obviously he'd just come back from the injury. And as you say, he's that intelligent to sort of pick his moments, when to exert himself and when to sort of burst into life, if you will. Because it was one of his more quiet games, he said. But as we said earlier, I'll take him being quiet, and if he's going to bang in 2 goals and wins the cup, I'll take it every day of the week. But I can't remember word for word what he says, but Anne says that I think that's the way the Japanese are over in the J League. It's the way they are. They sort of push themselves to the limits. But as I said, I'll take him pushing himself to his limits if he's going to sort of play for the cause, if you will. So I'll take it.
But I think as well, JP, I think is obviously at the game, you see most of the game, but normally you just focus on the ball. I think see if you actually looked at Kyogo or but his stats or his movement, just him on a video, you'll probably realise he's not a quiet game. He's probably doing a lot of stuff you don't actually see firsthand. His movement, dragging players away. But I guarantee he's probably talking guys' ears to put them off, because that's things we don't see. That's what strikers do. I've done it. I have a bit of banter, boom you away. That's just what you do. And I think if you actually just watched his videos, I don't know if I know that I know there's Y scouting that you can get that on, but obviously that's finance, that's a lot of money. That's why clubs are going at. But you can actually see what he does after the ball. Because I used to watch Hooper a lot at games when he was there, and I thought after the ball he was superb. He was just brilliant. And you spoke about Hooper in the past, Stokes, Edward, and Belly, and now you've got Kyogo. It's like, as we've said in previous pods, JP, Edward who now? He's forgot about now. He's done. But at the start of the season when we sold him, I was like, we're fucked. Because who are we going to sign? Obviously Kyogo was out the blue. You're like, who are we going to sign? Is it going to be somebody for like Brighton who's not playing? Is it going to be some squib like no a squib, that's disrespectful, but like Biles and somebody just a panic buy, and then you brought in this guy for not even half the price, basically half the price, and he's maybe equally as good or even better than his word now, because the guy's sensational. And I think if you actually look him after the ball, he does a lot more than we actually maybe think.
He's one of the hardest workers in the team, mate. His work rate is absolutely phenomenal, and I watch him after the ball when Celtic are countering, and he's the only one I know that can occupy a back four himself. But I think I said this a while ago, mate, with Jota and a few others as well. I can sense fear in opposition now. Hibs weren't expecting, their game plan was not expecting Kyogo on Sunday.
No.
Don't care what anybody says. Their game plan was for, they had set up, you could see that with their team, they set up with 2 big lads at the back because they thought Celtic were playing a false 9. They did not know Celtic were going to play Kyogo. They didn't know he was going to be fit. They second guessed and thought he wouldn't be fit, so they set up a certain line. They never even played the boy Doig because they thought Celtic were going to be playing a false 9. I'd imagine when the team was announced, they were kind of, here we go. And then they played the 2 big lads. Maybe not the quickest. Certainly not capable of dealing with the movement of the wee fella. And that's exactly what Kyogo brings now. He brings an element of fear. When you see his name in the lineup, teams, players, etc., will be going, here we go. Because you know what's happening. You know he's guaranteed a chance, or he's guaranteed a chance or 2. And the wee man is quite clinical. So there's a chance he is going to punish you once, if not once, twice. But even punishing you once, as Sam says, he's the type of player, similar to Larson. He might not be in the game for 80 minutes. Boom, 2 goals. Before you know it, you're 2-0 or 2-1 down. You were 1-0 up 10 minutes ago and he scored 2 goals. That's the type of player Kyogo is. And that's what he brings to a team. But he's a team player. And Ange did say the other day that the Japanese are synonymous with hard work and, you know, the sacrifices they'll make to make sure that they get their work done and things are done the right way. And I'll tell you what, lads, see if they sign the other three and they're even as half as good as him. My God, that team's just going to take off. If the quality of these boys and the work rate of these lads are just as good as Kyogo.
I think the Freeze will agree in that. I think in the fact that they're coming for the same level in a way, the same league, the same standard. And as we have said in previous podcasts, Sam, there's talent everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's in Scotland's bottom league or the J League. There's talent everywhere. And probably the only negative, Sam, on the game would have been obviously the goal conceded. Again, I know we've got the best record in the league. We don't concede too many goals at the moment, but our Achilles heel, Sam, is we just can't defend set pieces. Under Lennon, we were hopeless with set pieces last season. Even with Rodgers, we were still a bit suspect sometimes with corners. It just seems that the new we're getting a wee bit better with Ange, but we just can't get rid of these set pieces. I don't know what it is with it's come a bit of a bugbear now with Sam. It happened in Ross County. It seems to be only most of the time it's set pieces. It's not like teams only working hard for us to concede. And like I don't mind getting like some of the goals Leverkusen scored, fantastic goals, 40-yarders. I don't mind that at all. See if somebody beats Joe Hart with a 40-yard streamer and you've played well, take your hat off to the opposition, fair enough, well played. But when you're kind of losing silly goals, eventually it will catch up on us. So we need to. I don't know how you stamp it out. It's just, but it's the only negative I can put for the game. It's the fact, Sam, that we're conceding for set pieces again.
I was just going to say that it's, as you say, it's been a bugbear even through one of our most successful managers, obviously in Rodgers, Lennon, even going back further than that. So it is literally the only criticism you could probably look at in the game and go, oh Christ, like if that doesn't happen, then it's probably probably is a better game and that might have a different result, because if they don't get that wind in their, I know we went up and scored like 15 seconds later, right? But if they don't get that wind in their sails, then who knows what could happen. But I don't know how you stamp it out, because as we've said, it's something that's been synonymous with managers over the years. So it's just we need to try and do better. Easier said than done, but I just look at neighbours because it's shocking, because at first he doesn't clear the ball well enough before to concede the corner, and then he just lets Hanlon run by him. And it's just like, if you mark your runner there, he maybe still score, but it just makes it harder for him. So it's just really sloppy defending.
Same goal was conceded at Ibrox, by the way, where he lets Helander get the jump on him too.
Yep. So you've got. I don't know as well, Sam, and I don't know what your opinion is. I don't know if it's because, again, I might be wrong. It could be man Martin, but for the way I look at it, it looks like Zono Martin. It seems to be that's the way Celtic been for years. Zono Martin, they were there under O'Neill, they were there under even Rodgers was Zono Martin. I don't like Zono Martin. I prefer man Martin, because if a guy loses his man, it's your fucking fault. It's your fault. But if it's Zono Martin, unless the guy got a jump on you, who do you blame? Because that's what they're getting told today. They're getting told to mark an edge. They're not getting told to mark a man. So if that guy's got a jump on you, do you blame him? Is it him you blame? Who is it you blame in that triangle? It's one of the ones. I don't like Zono Martin. Zono Martin. I didn't like it when I played football. I don't like it when my own teams go to it. I prefer you get your man and you mark him. If you lose the ball, it's your fault, and you just practice on your man Martin. But with Zono Martin, everything's got to be right. So I don't know what you think. I don't know if it's cutting out the Zono Martin and just get a man Martin, or is it we just need to just really, I don't know what you can do. Is it just defend better? But defend better, what's defending better? Is it training better? Is it, again, I'm making this out to be a big deal, but we've won a cup final, but you've got to be balanced and look at the negatives, and we conceded too many goals for set pieces. It was the same as last year. I think, was it 12 goals or something for corners that it was from the front post or the back post? It was the same goals all the time. Don't quote me on how many goals it was, but it was a lot. We silly headers at the front post. I'm sure it was the front post headers that were missing it all the time, and it's rough for the 2 goals Ibrox in there. I don't know what you think of the offset the zonal marking, Sam, but I don't like it.
I totally agree with you, because with the man marking, as you say, it just like yours get one sort of job is to, like, you go with him and whatever. So it's because, as I say, it's been a synonymous thing over the years. So we could argue till we're blue in the face about it. But as you say, if you defend better, then define that. It's like define defending better. It's like, but I don't know, mate. I really don't know, because again, we could argue about this all night because it's been an issue. But I've got no words to, because I'm not an expert, obviously. So I'm not sitting here as like the big I am, but I think it is. But I would suggest going to Man Martin, or I like Man Martin. But again, I'm not an expert, so who's really going to listen to me? But that's what I would do anyway.
And obviously, JP, as Sam says, 15, 20 seconds later, boom, goal. That's what I would call, that's Celtic. And I think that's the way Ange is installed. I seen a wee video of him yesterday talking about it, and he says, the way my team's is, as soon as you restart, you go forward. You go forward. And I've always says it, see when players take a goal kick, take the ball for the centre after a goal, why did they always go back? That does man not. And they always, even when you start the game, and the first thing I've really noticed it was when Edouard done it at Ibrox, and that set the tone for the game. He pinged the ball in the corner and it got us right up the park. Why not do it every game? Why do we need to put the ball back to the right back to then put you under pressure? I don't like it. I've never liked it. But the fact that he's wanting to play the ball forward, I'm sure it was Ryan McGibbon. Was it Ryan McGibbon that says it? The other day. It was a video in my top of it, and he says they lost a goal or somebody scored against them and they didn't restart properly. They passed the ball back. He says after the game, for 25 minutes or half an hour, he just sat and fucking shouted and bawled at him for doing that. He says he gave us a balking. This isn't my philosophy. This isn't your philosophy as a club. We get the ball and we go forward. You don't go back. Doesn't matter. You don't go back. And if that's the way that he's talking to these players, JP, it's obviously working, because boom, goal. And I think that silenced the game for us. That killed the game for us, because Hibs were celebrating and we've scored. It's totally deflated them. And I think it shows you as well the phrase in football, you're always most vulnerable after you score. And that just shows you that's very, very true.
Absolutely. I think what's more gutting from Hibs' perspective is the fans probably couldn't see the goal. The amount of fog it descended onto the pitch. At the moment, Kyogo equalises. I think it's hard as well for the ref and the linesman and everybody else to see, the absolutely exceptional movement of the wee fella to make that run from McGregor's pass. Luckily enough, I was at that side, so I saw the pass clearly, and the touch, and as I say, the goal was unbelievable. But getting back to defending, especially the one we lost the set piece, I actually think Joe Hart's got to do better there, lads. I really do. He's a big lad. He's a big lad, and he's, that's a couple of times going to be the one at Ross County as well the other night. He just static, and you're like, come on, big man, you need to. The guys on about you can only do so much. You then need to make their job a bit easier by showing them a presence outside. So don't be afraid to come off your line. I'm not really want to criticise Joe Hart, but that's if that's a criticism, then that's the only thing I'm going to say about that, because he needs to do it better. And he needs to do it more. It's probably one of the only criticisms I can give a big fella, is because he wasn't slow coming out to Nisbet when he was through on him. So if you can get out for that, surely you can get out and maybe I don't know, maybe that's a mentality on you, Big Joe. I don't know, maybe because he's took that done off Big Ramirez against Aberdeen, maybe he's thinking twice about coming out. He knows a lot of the Scottish teams and they've got big lads in their team and maybe he doesn't want to take a whack, but but getting back to the defending, I think the easy way to defend that is just go fucking attack it. Doesn't matter who it is, take somebody out with you if you need to take them out, but make sure you header that before he does. Simple. If the ball's near you, header it. I don't know if any of you've seen this, but after that goal was scored, Lee McGregor went off his nut. So he did. He was screaming at Starfelt and Carter Vickers. And you seen Vickers kind of pointing and talking back to McGregor. And McGregor, he was like that, as if, I don't care. That was your ball. Just go and fucking header it and take it out. Get it out of there. Simple. That's the only way you got to stop it. Don't be fear. You're a big lumpy a boy. Go and attack it. Aye, but he might have a run on you. Aye, okay. He's going to have one sore landing when he comes down out the air, isn't he? Just go and attack it. Or at least do something to put him off. Whereas if you're a presence, like beside him or near him, or if no, you go and win the ball. Simple. Never mind all this Zono and Man Martin, and it doesn't come down to that for me. It comes down to personal responsibility and the individual who's near that area at that time, whether that be the goalkeeper, the fullback, the centre back, a midfielder, or a centre forward. Just go and attack that ball. Simple, and get it out. And we'll deal with the second or the third wave or whatever it's called, once we get set again. And that's the way you're going to get rid of it. And if it means you need to bring, I don't know, another big Volharen or another big, by the way, they're a team it never happened with very often. They were all monsters, nobody went near them. Mialbi and Volharen and Big Baldi and Vargar and Raman Vega, and they were all big man units. So it's hardly surprising they never conceded a lot of set piece goals because I wouldn't like getting up against the big monsters.
I know. Definitely Big Baldi anyway.
No, bounced into him, man. It's like getting hit with a train.
Oh, and obviously as well, as you say, McGregor there, Sam, first time as captain, you've seen after the game how much, I'm not saying it was relief from, but it was just pure elation, man. You can see it in his face. It was enough his head. He was so proud. You can see it, and that's a big thing I think for him as well. And maybe I'm not saying he would have doubts about himself, but the fact that he knows, right, I've got the first title now. I can do it. I can be the cap. I can be a leader. This is my team now. Obviously, because I've not won a title since Scott Brown left, he's not going to be Scott Brown's shadow, but he's no lifted a title yet. But now he's got a title, no the main title, but he's got a cup. That's him on the pedestal. Celtic captain, he's won a trophy, and I think for now that'll kick him on as well, Sam, to be an even better captain, knowing that he can bring success under this squad and manager.
Aye, totally. Because as you say, you've seen the elation in his face, and I know I'm not saying he's never had the passion, but it's just you could see it more so than it already is. Because you see him getting out to the fans with the cup and going like and getting them all right up as Joe Hart did. And I think they've started putting the other days, on Sunday night, sorry. He's played in 14 finals, albeit obviously he wasn't a captain in them. But he's won every single final he's been in. Again, obviously this one being the first one as a captain. So I agree with you. I think it will spur him on. And hopefully that'll have a positive reaction within the squad as a whole, obviously with him and others as well, obviously, pushing them on.
I think as well, Sam, as well, I like these wee, again, I don't know if it was a direct dig at Rangers or Golson, but I like the fact that he says we are hungry for success. He put that in his statement at the end of the game. I don't know if that's a dig or it was just him saying I'm hungry for success, but I was like, fucking brilliant, son. It shows you as well that something was definitely wrong last season, because guys like him don't become losing mentality overnight. This squad, this team, this club at the moment is not a losing mentality team. You can see it in the squad at the moment. With a guy like McGregor in the team, you're not going to have a losing mentality because he's been a winner, as you mentioned. 14 finals, 14 wins, league winners' medals. That's, as JP says, Sam, it's engraved in him. For the academy upwards, you need to win. You need to win. And I think he's only going to put that onto these players, similar to Scott Brown. I'm not saying he's going to be the captain of Scott Brown, as it could be, because he's going to be here for another 4 or 5 years probably, because I can't see him leaving Celtic. I can't see him leaving now. As much as I says at the start, really about the start of the season when he signed the new deal, I was thinking, right, is this just a smokescreen to get more money, maybe in a year or two? But I think now you can see it's always we, Celtic, us, future, and I think he's going to be here, hopefully, for the end of his career. I think he will be the captain for the next 4, 5, 6 years, because I can't see him leaving. And obviously that all depends on success and winning trophies, because if we don't win trophies, he'll be off. Because he seems to me, he's a born winner. He wants to win trophies. And Sam, I think the fact that we've got somebody like this in the team, because let's be honest, there was a few doubts at the start of the season, could they take this up? Me personally, I was thinking, is it him, or do we get to Big Julian? Who is it? Do we need to sign a captain? You're thinking, what do we do? And we signed Hart, and I'm thinking, well, he could be a captain, but you've got really a lot of captains now, in my opinion. You've got a captain who's a manager. He's a big captain at the side of the park. You've got Joe Hart. You've got guys like Ralston now, who's for me is a big player now for the squad, and obviously in the actual squad itself, not just on the park. It's just a lot of positivity on, especially I think that McGregor builds it for me, Sam. He's the main man in the middle of the park. He sees the game, and I just think I can see him kicking on with us now.
I totally agree, because I think obviously you could sign players and they can come in and say, oh, I know how big a club Celtic is, and I know the ambitions and the objectives and what's needed, etc., etc. But me personally, I don't think you truly understand that unless you've been like a McGregor or a Forrest who's been here their full lives. So he's the main, or one of the main men. He builds, like, for example, I think he builds the confidence and whatever for the huddle at the start of a game. He's probably telling them get fucking right into them and like getting them right and raring to go. I'm not saying they wouldn't be raring to go beforehand, but it just kicks them on even more before they start playing. But again, like Kyogo, there's too many superlatives I could use to describe Callum McGregor. He's just I was like you, and I was like, is he captain material? But then I thought about it, every captain's different. No, every captain Celtic's going to have is like a Scott Brown, who'll be vocal, well, maybe not vocal, but like be right in about it. And like McGregor's just a quiet, he goes about his game, and obviously again, there's just too many superlatives to use.
See the thing as well, JP, I think as much as he's a captain, he's won the first trophy. See the thing is, mate, as much as I think Alan McCoy says, we'll talk about Rogic, I think McCoy, again, I was at the game, so I don't know what we said in commentary, but supposedly, after the game, you look at the group chat and they're saying that Rogic, according to McCoy, is the best player in Scotland, technically, and whatever else. For me, mate, I just can't see past McGregor. I think Rogic is world class. No, sorry, take that back. He's top class. But in our sense, but McGregor's an exceptional football player. As Sam says, it's under the radar, does the simple things, and he's passes well for the goal. One of the goals, frightening, man. That's not even get highlighted as much as it should have. There was a way to pass for Kyogo. The guys, I'm with Sam, I've ran out of things to say about the guy. There's nothing negative. The only negative I could say is he's got to get more in the referee's face, more nastier. But again, that will come through experience and through being a captain, and I think he'll build on that role. But for me, mate, McGregor, I think is just, I don't want to say we're lucky to have him, but in a way I do, because he could easily walk into that Premier League without a shadow out and play week in, week out.
Totally agree, 100%, mate. He's a Rolls Royce, a midfielder. He's unbelievable. And everything he does. And you can see that for both Celtic and now for Scotland. Because for me, him and Billy Gilmore in the Scotland team have made a big difference. And they've gave Steve Clark, that's why Steve Clark's getting a lot of joy. and probably why the Scotland team are now starting to see success because of the way they too can dictate play from the middle of the park. They're so comfortable on the ball. McGregor's unbelievable. He can play it long, he can play it short, he can attack, he's now getting back. He's now winning things in the air, man. I mean, he's like 4'10" or whatever he is, you know what I mean? I don't know what he is, I'm only a wee joker, but he's, you know, he won a ball in the air against Betis, against William Carvalho. Carvalho was like that. Yeah. And looked at him, he'd done a double take, and he's like, no way, man. What? Where did you come from? And it's now becoming part of his game now. Because I saw he won a couple in the air on Sunday as well. But his pass for Kyogo's first goal was just unbelievable. To even try it in the first and foremost, he just glides it right to him, and it shows you the speed of his mind to hit it first time the way he did, to play that ball. There was a couple of other passes he played as well. One in particular, outside his boot to Juranovic at the far side. That was an unbelievable pass as well. He's just, as you say, we could talk about him all day, every day. Getting back to Tom Rogic as well, he's another one. It's just, I can't believe a year and a bit ago we were just about to get shot at him and for £4 million. And if you tell me now somebody was to come in a bid for £4 million, I would ask you that to take him maybe a heat for his Christmas shopping or something like that. Do you know what I mean? To buy him new trainings and take him in Nando's or something. Because that wouldn't even £4 million when he scratch the surface. Do you know what I mean? It's
I would get my food shit and butterflies, mate.
Aye, with peri chip.
Aye.
But no, I mean it's just phenomenal. And as Sam says earlier on, I was going to mention it and all, but Sam managed to get in front of me. 87 minutes the other day, and Rogic is pressing again. He's chasing the centre back. Hanlon plays it to Stevenson. He's chasing Stevenson. No, Stevenson, Bratpoint Doig's come on. So he's chasing Doig. Doig tries to accelerate. He chases him and he wins as a throw-in through putting Doig off. Just in front of Ange at the dugout. And Ange does what all good managers would do and pats him in the back to say, well done, by the way, because he won us out of nothing. So, and that was all through him. He played a bad pass to Abada. They intercepted it, and he was kind of, you could see he was annoyed at himself. That's doing better, and that's what you're seeing now, I know, with the team. And I think that's imperative. And one of the other things I think is imperative as well. We talk about stats, boys. McGregor's 14 cup finals. Big beat on. 17 winners' medals.
Phenomenal.
17 winners' medals. That was his 17th winners' medal with that team. That is unbelievable. See what you want about the guy. Never a centre half. He's this, he's that, whatever you're going to say. That guy has been an unbelievable servant to that club. And by the way, he spent the last nearly 4 years having to fight to get on the bench most weeks. And now when he's coming in, he's putting in performance after performance. When he's been asked to, play a certain way, and he's been asked to get fitter. He's a lot quicker as well, Beaton. A lot sharper. He's been asked to do a different role. He's been, coming back into midfield. That'd have been hard for him, guys, I know, because he's a central midfielder, and people say, oh, that's for his position. You see, we're used to playing a certain position for so long.
It's hard to commit it.
You then become accustomed to that position. So even at Israel, he plays as a centre half. So to then be asked to play in the heart of the midfield for Celtic, perform the way he's performing, it takes a lot, guys. And for me, Big Beaton's an unsung hero of the Celtic team. You talk about your McGregors, your Rogic, Kyogos and all that. Big Beaton's, I've said it about him before, he's a classy type midfielder. And for me, he just puts me in mind of Big Busquets, that plays with Barcelona. He does this simple things, again, under the radar. Not a lot of people probably talk about him. There's probably more people on his back than there is actually people praising the guy. For a while, he was a lot of people's scapegoats. Same as James Forrest and Scott Bain and Greg Taylor and Barkas and Ajeti and Ralston. And so, and by the way, I thought Greg Taylor was absolutely outstanding. I know he's not 100% fit yet. I thought he was excellent on Sunday.
I have no criticism of Taylor, mate. I thought he had a good game, mate. Obviously on Rogic, again, like McGregor, the guy, he just glides past defenders. He's strong, man. He's just. But the only thing I put in the chat, Sam, the only thing with Rogic, I think, is they're kind of expecting too much of him now. I noticed at the game in the weekend, they're giving him the ball all the time. That's because you trust him to do something with it. But he needs a horn. It can't just be Rogic. And I think as well, that's where January will come in. You might try and get one of these two Japanese flair players that might come in and help you. It's not a bad thing, they're giving the ball all the time. I just think if he's getting the ball all the time, that's when he might not last the full game because he's doing a lot of more running than maybe he should. And obviously, the only two, another criticism in a way, I don't know what you think, Sam, would be the two wingers. I thought Johnson and Abada, they didn't play bad. I just thought they could have given us a bit more. I thought we were a bit lacklustre sometimes out wide. Again, I know Johnson was fully fit. He might have not been fit. Abada's played a lot of games, could be burnout, but I think that's we do need more for the wingers. I know Forrest isn't fit. The belly's not even anywhere near yet. So I think maybe a winger could be a priority to bring in January. I know there's rumours about the Japanese boys who signed up, but I think they need help because they can't play every game. Johnson at the moment probably can't play every game because he's body type. So, but I just thought the old Kitson Mirren would be they need to give a bit more, Sam. And I'm not saying they need to give more goals, or I just think they need to do a bit more for the. I'm only gone by Sunday's game. I just thought they could do a bit more.
I totally agree because I thought I've obviously been one of Johnston's critics, obviously over the course of the past weeks and months, etc. I thought he was really good. Because that's one thing I would say about him compared to Forrest now. Forrest, obviously, back in the day, and again, obviously, injuries and everything, right? I totally get that. But he's no that winger now that will go and take a player on and try and get by him. Whereas Johnston was doing that on Sunday. But it was the end product that lacked, whether it be shooting when he should have, or no shooting when he should have shot, or vice versa. And obviously the same goes for Abada. And again, you can argue, obviously, Johnson was not fully fit. Fine, that's again totally fine. But it's something that I think only Jota gives us. Obviously, he gives us everything like flair and taking players on and goals and assists. But I totally agree that they need to do more in terms of even I don't want to say fully tracking back, but at least giving the midfield to fullbacks a wee bit more help if and when needed. So, but I do agree that they need to do more.
Probably JP, that's the only thing I've got to is I think Abada's still a bit raw. I think he's got the ability, 100%. I just think he needs a bit more coach more, and I think this is the right club for to be at for that to happen because I think for any player to come to this club now, you're only going to get better. I don't think there's going to be a way backwards for you unless you're obviously not playing. But I think if fans signed you, there's probably a chance you're going to be playing because I don't think he's going to sign guys like your Kamaras, your Biles, Shevs, just to sit and burn up the baseball. I don't think, again, I'm only going by to what I see of him and what I hear from him. He's bringing in guys, quality players, hopefully, to come in and play or come on and make an impact. I don't think he's signing guys just to bulk up the squad. And I think for maybe bulking up the winger side, because for me, like I said in the previous podcast or the one before that, I might be wrong, but I've had my words before. I think the best for me, for Forrest, is finished for us. I think we've seen the best of him. I think he's going to be in and out injured now, in and out playing 60 minutes coming off. I think he might be the new Rogic, playing now and again, no playing, injured. Again, I could be wrong, but for just what I see in the park now, he's no as direct anymore. He's no want to take guys on as much anymore. Is that because he's got to adapt his game now because he has lost a bit of yard because he's been injured? He might need to be a number 10 now and play behind the striker. He might need to be a forward now. He might need to adapt. But again, Andrew's the best man to deal with that. Fans may say I'm talking one lot of shite that Forrest will get back to where he is. But for on the evidence of what I see, I just can't see him getting back to the heights that he's been at. I think maybe he's peaked because he has been a Celtic player for how many years now, and he started a lot of games. And
he was 9 years of age, I think he's been there, hasn't he?
Similar to Tierney, as soon as Tierney was in a youth team, up to the first team, when he played, Forrest was basically the same. As soon as Lennon put him in, very rarely did he drop out. So he's played a lot of games, and it could be he's peaked and that's him. He'll just blow the line now. Again, I could be wrong, mate, but I don't know what you think of that.
No, I would agree to an extent, mate. I think he's been a bit I will back him up in a sense here and say that he's been a bit unlucky. But that long-term injury he had, and then obviously when he came back, he just never really get going again. A bit like Giacomakis, in terms of, you know, and I think when he came in, he was trying a bit too hard. By the way, still scored an important goal. It put us to that final on Sunday.
Yep.
He'd been in the right place at the right time for that. But early signs of Forrest at the beginning of the season, I mean, it was part of the team, you know, all right, we get beat at Tynecastle, but European adventure, he was in with them there. I mean, I think he scored against Jablonec and over there, and I think that was Kyogo's debut, and he scored that night, the wee man himself. But when you get a bad injury and I'm trying to envisage what it's like. If you've got a bad injury and you're coming back and your new manager's brought in 12 new players, and out of all the 12, at least 10, 11 of them have all hit the ground running, the team's gone well. Right away, there's pressure because you're one of the longer term players that are there. You're out injured, so the fans are expecting you to come back in and be James Forrest that you've been for the last 9-10 years. And maybe his body himself was ready to play, but hold on a minute, I'm going to need games under my belt here before I can get any form. Because you can't, I mean, very seldom do you come back after a long-term injury and you come on, you'll score the winner, and then the following game you'll start, and then, you know, because the worst thing he probably could have done in a sense is maybe score that game against St Johnstone. Because the fans are expecting, yes, man, we've got Forrest back, your beauty, here we go. He's going to come back, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And a lot of fans have been disappointed because he's not been 100% fit. He's then dropped again with another injury, but now we found out it's the same injury as the initial injury he had. So I kind of think it's a bit of rotten timing for him.
Yeah.
But with this one, whether he returns to his, you know, what he's capable of, it's doubtful for me as well, because obviously he's not getting any younger. I think Forrest is now, I think he's up 30 now, isn't he?
Roughly 29, 30, that end of the 30.
Aye. B. McGregor's only, he's still got a couple of years to go before he's at the 30 stage yet. So, I think James is sort of, you know, he's going to have to work really, really hard in order to get back to where he was. And by the way, I'm not writing him off, because
no, I'm the same. I'm only going
Tony
by what I'm
Ralston's
seeing.
a great example.
Aye.
I'm not writing anybody off, mate. You know what I mean?
Aye.
I think for us all, I think for now moving forward, a lot of the Celtic fans just need to hold off before they make any wild predictions, man, because Tony Ralston's the contradiction to everybody's. He's finished. Has he? Aye, well, no, he's a real phone-in, man. He's finished. No, he's only 28. One of them.
Aye, definitely, mate. And obviously, Sam, as well, obviously, JP, we mentioned the guy who maybe some fans have forgot about is Giacomakis. I still think it'll come good. you don't come for that level of football and speed. What he done, I think he won the Greek Overseas Player of the Year. That's no mean feat because Greeks have got some decent players. They might not be the level they used to be at, but they're still a decent squad internationally. He scored a lot of goals last year. I still think he will come good. You've seen in the European games he's played, he's come on made a difference. I still think hopefully by middle of January or so he's back fit, because I don't know if he's back fit training. We've seen a wee photo of him with boots the other day. I don't know if he's fit again, but obviously no fit for him, but we don't know if he's back training. But he, again, I know he's a new signing, but he will come back like a new signing and a new player to come into the squad.
I know, totally. Because, as you say, he's in the European games especially. Like, I think you've said it before. He's just something completely different. Because with Kyogo, obviously, you've got the nimble wee striker that's got unbelievable movement and pace. But then, if you're winning games, for example, by 2-3-0 or whatever, then you just bring him on and just let him hold it up, buy his fouls up the park, and then that obviously wastes time. And obviously what JP's saying with Forest, and I'll obviously use it with Giacomakis. I'm not writing either one of them off. I'm more than happy to eat my words with either one of them. Like, because people obviously go, oh, Giacomakis is this, he's that, but he's just been unlucky. He's committed to the club, and as you say, playing in the Dutch league, I think he outscored like the likes of Donny Malen, ended up going to like Borussia Dortmund. Like, you don't do that like if you're a crap player.
Yeah.
So I'm not writing them off. I think, as I said, they will come good eventually, but it's just rotten, obviously, luck in terms of injuries, he said.
And obviously last week, I've actually, before we move on to obviously this Monday game and a wee bit of COVID news as well, under Ange JP, not, I want to say any players regressed yet under him. Under Lennon, how many players are just about done under him? I know Shane Duffy came out today and basically says he went to Celtic at the wrong time. It couldn't have happened at a worse time for me. It just went wrong. He says, and Graham Potter gave Graham again. I don't know if it's a dig at Lennon or Celtic. I don't know what I'm only reading between the lines. Again, it probably wasn't, but I'm just putting this to you, what you think, mate. But it was, I don't know if you've seen the article, but he basically said that Graham Potter knows me. He knows my character. He knows how to manage players. And he says, I knew that if I was going to come to Brighton and another chance, I would need to take it. He says, but he's given me a chance because he knows me and he knows what I'm like. And I don't know if that's a dig at Celtic. I don't know if I was just trying to be honest, saying I played under him before, he knows me. But I don't see any player going to regress under Ange. Obviously, guys who are not playing are going to regress to a certain degree, but they're still going to get training and coach, so they're still going to maybe potentially get somewhere. But the guys who are playing most weeks and who are on the bench, even McCarthy's getting better as the game's getting on. So I want to say any players regress, but if you look at last season, mate, guys who, for me personally, Ayeti was playing at a higher level European football for West Ham. I know he didn't play with West Ham a lot, but he's came for that big level. Elyounoussi didn't regress to a big degree, but he regressed a wee bit for obviously his playing days at Mulder and Southampton. Ayer, Julian, guys like that, and McGregor, he was a shadow himself last year. Brown, I know it might have been a year too much for Brown, we don't know. But the difference in managers and how players are responding is night and day.
Absolutely, mate. I'm probably going to make a big call here about Shane Duffy. I think the timing of that signing, things that were happening in and about the club, things that were going on in the big fella's personal life, it was just all the wrong timing, probably the wrong season. I reckon if Big Shane was to probably re-sign with the club, and he would, he would, if he was to get another chance, I'm not saying that's going to happen, by the way. I'm just saying if it happened, I think Big Shane would show probably similar quality up here and show it with ease in terms of being able to handle playing for Celtic, because there was a lot of the time people questioned, was he good enough, was he no? Anyway, don't kid yourself. The big fella can play, and he showed this season he can do it.
Well, he's a mainstay in Brighton's team now.
Absolutely. And that's just showed through he went away. He knew he had a bad season last season. He went away and similar to Rogic, he went away and he worked hard. He worked hard there the summer. He got himself fit. I think he got off the booze for a while because he likes his beverage, big man, as well. So he got off the booze for a wee while. He chucked all that, chucked his socialising. Obviously, his dad passed away, God rest him. But Big Shane was to come back now. Big Shane would be... I'm not saying he's as good as this guy. I'm saying he would look similar in the impact that he would probably make now. He'd probably Big Van Dijk. He would stroll it up here now. He wouldn't be, he wouldn't be the scapegoat he was made out to be the last time. He'd be working under a manager who would give him belief. And by the way, I'm not saying he's Ange's similar type of player. I just don't want a lot of Celtic fans thinking, he was never ever good enough to play for Celtic. Don't kid yourself. It was just the rotten timing.
No, I agree, mate.
It was just the rotten timing, and I don't like hearing people say, he's rotten, he's mince, he's that. He's a professional footballer first and foremost. The guy that you're calling rotten, you're sitting on Facebook talking about him being rotten, and he's out in a football field. So, but he's playing in the best league in the world now, as they call it, and he's playing week in and week out. And he had a right good game against Portugal for the Republic Island. I think he's a big goal threat for Republic Island, a lot of their games as well. It's going to be very interesting because we've just drew them in Nation League's group as well. So that's just regarding Big Duffy. I do think, it was rotten timing with him.
I agree, mate. And obviously, Sam, I said to JP there, the amount of players that are potentially, and they have been getting better under Ange, it's underlining players, like even Edouard, I know he got 20 odd goals, but he regressed. He wasn't the same player. And I think I can only see players getting better under Ange.
I totally agree, because it's the names that you listed off. I know he didn't have them for long, but I like to see the big one was McGregor, because as you say, he was a shell and a shadow himself. It was like, because you looked at it and you're like, is that the same player that's been so consistent and obviously played a major part in this team? But I think, me personally, a lot of them shouldn't have been properly coached, because if you take a look at the big one, obviously I've ate my words on it. But obviously I know other people. It was obviously big Tony Ralston. Never in a million years did I think Tony Ralston would walk into that, well, not walk in, but get put into that Celtic team out his own fault, because we didn't have anything else, and end up becoming a mainstay. JP said it ages ago on our podcast, he's keeping Croatia's number one right back at his proper spot. So that just shows you, because I think he got asked in the open goal interview that he done with obviously him and all. He says, what about Tony Ralston? He says, well, I've not done it. He says, I've just gave him a chance, and he's just went and took it by the plate, took the bull by the horns and just went there. So I think players are going to get better this year. And as you said as well, like obviously the players that don't play are only going to develop fully. They will develop a wee bit in training, but it will become very, very apparent the difference between last year to this year in terms of development.
Aye, definitely. And obviously, JP, the game tomorrow at Mirren, St Mirren have got a lot of COVID cases out, so you do know if we don't get beat, we're going. If we don't win, we're going to get absolutely lambasted with the media as usual. Celtic are crumbling, can't he beat COVID, this and that. But I liked Ange, his interview. I don't know if he's seen his press conference. I don't know if he actually meant. I don't know if he meant to put a dig to the media, but he says they asked him. He's like, I get your context of the question. Obviously, St Mirren have got guys injured, COVID cases. So obviously, basically a lesser game for you. And how do you feel about that? And he's saying, well, obviously for Germany's players, it's no good and whatever else. And he says, but what about Dundee United at the weekend there? The exact same situation. Rangers struggled against them. So I think he knew what they were trying to get with him. But only again tomorrow, again, doesn't matter the injuries we've got. I know we've got a few major players that injuries. Will Kyogo play? For the sounds of Ange, he might not start. He was saying we need to manage him, so whether or not he starts, I don't know. But if you've got a lot of players out with COVID, you'd still like to think we've got enough to win the game.
Absolutely. I think after Sunday, mate, I don't. To be honest with you, I think it's going to take a monumental shift for anything but a Celtic victory tomorrow. And that would, by the way, that was with a fully fit and fully, eligible St Mirren team. But it's like I always say, mate, karma's got its way of slapping people in the face. Welcome to our world. We had to play
3 games.
And Livingston, minus 14 of our first team.
And we should have still won the 2 games.
Sorry?
And the 2 games, we should have still won. We should have won the 2
We
games.
should have still won both of them, yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't. And again, that was all part of a shit show that was caused last season.
As I say, Operation Stop the Tent.
Or Operation Stop the Tent. Well, listen, every contributor had his begging bowl out at the beginning of last season, I think. But listen, there was a lot of decisions self-inflicted. Yep. And I think the whole ball and goalie, sideshow when it starts for that, and when he's asked about it, I mean, there was no remorse about him. That's what baffled me, the fact that he didn't know what he'd done. He didn't know
the fact for me is, the fact for me is, mate, he's just signed for Celtic a year and a bit ago. Before that, he's not going to be a nobody anymore. People know who he is. He's playing with Celtic, and you've got blondie, tippy hair. People know who he is. He didn't even try and mask himself. He just sat there playing like, all right, I'm Bongali.
Yeah, but the thing that got me was the fact that he kind of was clever, Ryan, as well, because, and this is just my way of thinking, I don't know if everybody else has this opinion, but he never flew for Glasgow. He flew for Prestwick. So he knew that, he kind of must have knew that Prestwick was a smaller airport. So he must have known that, there was less chance of him being seen by media or... And any time I've ever, I don't know if any of you boys have had the luxury of flying for Prestwick, you're no messing about, you're just standing away. And there's no really anywhere for you to go or anywhere.
It's a bit of shithole.
I wouldn't say that, but it's not exactly it's not a massive place. You're not going to get lost in it very easily.
It's no Abu Dhabi.
No, it's no. I wouldn't say it's a 5-star luxury airport. Especially one of the, I think it was Ryanair. And there's a problem in the plane squealing before you take off, you know what I mean? You think it's one of the vanes and it's not, it's a plane.
Yeah, the plane.
The vane's sitting there going, what's that noise? But
I saw you hearing the planes, the full way, man.
But no, the fact that he went for that, he went there, and hearing it was his sister that stuck him in, he still would never have came clean and told the club.
Haven't a clue, mate.
It was his actual sister that told. His sister told Celtic.
I know as he was into training, and that's how Celtic found it.
No, apparently his sister contacted the club to tell him.
So his sister's a grass.
His sister, I says, oh well, she might, because I asked at the time, I said, was she related to Lee Wallace? And I got a few dirty looks as well, and I'm like, you got a cheeky dirty looks, you know what I mean? After what his performance now. That's the best thing he done in the cup final.
I know.
But no, the ball and goalie scenario and all, and then the snow. It then puts you in the back foot.
Yep.
Because then I think we were like 2 games behind him right away. Remember, we had Tyson out for like 25 days.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It was like just a random number that was made up by the government, and it was like a rule for Celtic and a different rule for everybody else. So, and then it was Julian that tested positive when we went to Dubai, and it just so happened to be that there was another 30 people had to self-isolate away from Julian. Like a because apparently they all sat on his knee and sat beside him on a plane. But you can only fit so many people beside him on a plane.
I'd all ate half the same fault and that and drink out the same juice.
That's what I was going to say. They all the same carton of Ribena and they were passing it about. You know what I mean? And that must have been one slabbery carton of Ribena, by the way, I'll tell you.
I know.
But like, it was just the decision making for us. And I think you mentioned it before as well, Ryan. There was loads of noise coming for us and all. So right for the half, there was loads of noise. 9 in a row and this and that. And then there was things happening. And then we started hearing it. You know, the leaks were coming for Lennon, and it was Lennon that was leaking out teams. And then you start hearing stories about John Kennedy going to Lawwell and telling Lawwell Lennon's got a runny nose. He's doing this and he shouldn't be doing that. He's caught picking his nose or caught picking his arse or picking, you know, he was doing something and he was a clipe. And then they two started not getting on. And you could see that in games as well. Like, they two were stoning and Lennon's stoning here and John Kennedy's away there. And Kennedy's shouting instructions to the teams and Lennon's shouting something completely different. So it wasn't surprising, to be honest, that, you know, it went the way. It was just disappointing from a fan perspective. When you put everything into... I think what made it even worse was the fact that we weren't even allowed there to, you know...
event your frustrations.
I still say that to this day. If we were allowed at Celtic Park, that wouldn't have went on as long as it did, because we would have stood for that.
Nope. You're right, mate, you're right. But obviously on the actual game tomorrow, which you're obviously
on the game tomorrow, it's always, you're away from home again, and some people are saying the new Celtic are playing better away from home than what they are actually doing at home. With a Celtic team, you know what you're getting. You're getting hard work, you're getting a bit of determination. They're not giving up, so they've got that fighting attitude now. They'll not give in. They go a goal down, it's all right. We stay calm, we get a goal back. So you're definitely, you know, you're definitely getting an attempt off them. In terms of St Mirren, it doesn't. Listen, I don't want to be disrespectful, because St Mirren's fully fit, strongest team. If Celtic are on their game, they're not a match for Celtic. So I don't know what kind of team St Mirren's going to make to field, but if Celtic, I hope Celtic don't do is I hope Celtic don't then go and try and mirror it and you know, start resting a squad of players that, you know, especially now if we're going to be bringing the winter break forward. Guys, let them see whatever many games is going to be left before the break. If it is going to be the derby, play up to the derby, fine. If it's no, play your first strongest 11 that you think you would play against an Aberdeen or a Hibs or the Rangers or anybody else, or your Bayer Leverkusens or your Bodo Glimps or anybody. Play what team you think's going to be the strongest.
I agree, mate. I agree.
Again, as players, mate, you're a player, Sam. You're a player, Ryan. Especially if you've just won the cup. You want to get back out there again. You want to go and showcase what you've got again. Kyogo, I only scored 2 on Sunday, right? I'm at a hat trick now. So that's the way that you know, maybe where McGregor's coming from, Ryan. Maybe that's what you're seeing now is a hunger. You know, maybe they're disappointed. We only scored 2 when we could have scored 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And that's your mindset you want the team in. That's, you know, because a team with that mindset are dangerous, very dangerous. And you know they're going to take the games to teams. Doesn't matter who they are, whether it's St Mirren or Bayern Munich. You know, they're going to have a go, they're going to try and believe in what they're doing and believe if it works, then they're going to reap the rewards of it.
No, I agree, mate, definitely. I think we will win the game. I think the fact we've got momentum for the game in the weekend, and obviously you've got a lesser team, so it gives you the advantage. Obviously, Sam, as well, St Mirren will have a lesser team due to obviously the COVID stuff, so you're no saying it's a penalty kick or a formality, any stretch of imagination, but it gives you a massive, massive opportunity to go and take a game to them, and again, setting a marker down, because it's just to continue what we've been doing.
I totally agree. Like as JP said, I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but I don't even think they're. But again, what he said, I don't even think their fully fit team could be a match for us. But I don't want us to I don't want us to sort of take the foot off the gas too much.
Yeah.
Sort of sit back and obviously just think, well, they've obviously got X amount of players out with COVID and just think we can stroll it, which I think we can, but just again, it happens just in football in general when you see a team just sitting back and thinking, we can just score easy, and they obviously end up drawing or losing or whatever. I just want us to take the game to them, get 1 or 2 early goals, and just obviously kick on to there and see the game out. Obviously, get there in the meantime, but don't slip up is what I mean.
And obviously, what JP was saying there, Sam, as well, but obviously, sometimes things happen to Celtic and things don't happen for Celtic. I know people might say, people don't want to talk about the government, what they're saying. I know this full thing is a brand new thing for us all, what's been going on. Nobody really knows what's going on. Obviously, they're talking about the crowds again. For me, I think should bring the winter break forward. Just have that, and then after 3 or 4 weeks, just go, listen, we need to live with what this is. We just need to deal with it. Fans in, and we just need to go, because let's be honest, the World Cup's this year as well. So see, the longer games are put back, that's going to get high. But let's be honest, we all know the World Cup will never get cancelled because there's too much money involved in the World Cup. So that's going to be the be-all and end-all for all these FIFA and UEFA and SFA and whatever else. So, but the fact that they're putting out 500 fans out there, don't know where they're getting that for. Don't know where the science is, because I don't think they're following any science anymore. They're making it up. 500. Why no 552 or 506? Why 500? It's laughable. And it's not just us three laughing at this, by the way. Everybody's laughing at this. I don't want to say on a podcast what I want to say, because I could get my jotters. But there's things that I want to say that it's just ridiculous. Football fans and hospitality.
Even 552, that's an extra 52 guys that want to get in with a 500.
Aye, but why 500 and no 552 or 662? What's the big difference? It's so 500 fans can get into St Mirren, which holds 11,000 or something, 12,000 roughly, 9,000.
I think it doesn't take. This is crazy as well. It really gets me right.
That's what
the more is a full house if it's possible, but even glasses. What's the difference between tomorrow and 4 days time?
There's no difference. You see the highest, Sam, that I was going to put to you, right? John Swinney or John Sweeney, whatever his name is, you say it properly, is it Sweeney or Swinney? Again, for during the week, Jason Leach, 50,000 at Hampden, Sweeney. Within 2 days of the game, remember, they say it takes a few days for all this to build up in the data. Within 2 days, Celtic Hibs are super spreaders. They're super spreaders. So what about all the games in junior, the pyramid system and the amateur games in every other league in Scotland on Saturday?
Yep.
Were they super spreaders? There was 50,000 at Ibrox. Oh, it's Ibrox, it's fine. Oh, it's other games in the SPL, they're fine. They're
Did you say there was 50,000 at Ibrox on Saturday?
Well, supposedly.
That must be the biggest attendance in this season.
So, but obviously people are going to say, I'm not saying it's to do with Rangers and Celtic. I'm just saying, why is it always on Celtic's games? There was 17,000 at Tynecastle, there was 14,000 at Hibs last home game, Aberdeen games, Partick Thistles. Why is it going to be Celtic and Hibs in the headline? Just because it was a cup final, Celtic won a trophy, is that what it was? Because for me, that's the way it looks. Jason Leach, 50,000 at Hampden Sunday. But what about the 50,000 the game beforehand? Is that because it's a league game and Celtic going to hopefully win a trophy? What is the full exterior about 50,000 at Celtic Park or 50,000 at Hampden? I don't know where they're pulling this for. People probably tell me I'm backing up Ryan 3, but for what I'm looking at for the media, I'm seeing people as well writing on Twitter can't believe that they've let a full crowd at Hampden. But what about the Saturday's game or during the week games? Why is it got to be Celtic's games? I don't really think it, Sam, and obviously going with the 500 situation, absolute nonsense. I think people are getting really pissed off at me because you're getting your boosters or you're getting your vaccines and you're never near followed. They're basically lying to you. That's the way it seems to me. Get your vaccines and you go to football games and I understand they've got to do something to stop this. I understand they're trying to do what they can. But as a football fan and a selfish point of view, obviously when there's a virus, but you want to get to the games, you're paying your season books. It's for a lot of guys, Sam, as well, football's the only thing they've got in life. You know, people's family life's not going well, their social life's not going well, but they go to their football, and that's 90 minutes to shout and ball and get their frustrations out. and they feel better after the game. They've seen their team win or they've seen their team lose, but they've had that social aspect. They've had their beer, they've met their pals at the game. They don't take this. I know they'll say they take that into consideration, but they don't. In my opinion, it doesn't go that way. I don't know what you think of that. Again, that's probably a rant people might think it's uncalled for. But for what I'm saying for social media and what I feel, I think I'm saying something softly to what others think.
I can tell you're passionate about that, Ryan. But no, like
doesn't hide it, doesn't it?
No,
I don't like it. I said I've had my vaccines. I've done it because obviously it keeps people safe. But you're thinking you're going to get to these things that you've missed out on, and then now you're getting to it. So, listen, I'm not going to lie. I knew it was going to happen. It was going to happen for the Rangers game. But I think we all got to adjust to that. But I don't know what you think. Obviously, the no fans obviously into the stadiums. And again, I agree with Stephen Glass that what's the point of having games when there's no fans?
Aye, I was just going to say that, like, I got mine because I was high risk. I got my vaccine and boosters obviously way before like yourselves. And I just don't see the point in it, because what's the point of going through 3 vaccines to then get all this hurt at you?
Yep. And
because I think I've seen people posting obviously having a joke with it and going, oh, you're invited to my wedding, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you can get more people at a wedding than a football game now.
You can.
Honestly, Sam, see the night, propose to your missus and we'll go to Parkhead for our weddings in the Old Firm game. Oh, sorry, the Glasgow Derby, should I say.
Because I've seen people saying that, they're like, come on to my wedding January 2nd and all that stuff. But it's madness. Because the way you look at it as well, see for the 2nd of January, see if, for example, us 3 are the lucky 500 that get to go. Us and obviously other people will go to pubs and other people's houses.
Yep.
So you're sitting like shoulder to shoulder with people and all.
Yep.
And it's madness. And as you say, where are they plucking the 500 number for? Because one of my mates, he's Fife, so he supports Cowdenbeath. They get less than 500 at a game. So they can get their full allocation. I know we're obviously different. I know there's a vast difference between 300 odd to 60,000. But as you say as well, football's a way of life. I know there's things bigger than football, right? But people that maybe, obviously, God love them, that like they've lost a partner or their wife or their husband or whatever, football might be all they've got.
Mm-hmm.
And as you say, you go to the football, you take your anger out, you sing and you do whatever, and then you get that ripped away for you. It's just, I said this to somebody today, I think, I'm not going to get too much into it because again we could be here all night, but the government have been looking to take football away every chance they've got.
I agree.
Every chance. They've been every chance they've got, and then come back to that whole thing about John Swinney. Why just us? Like,
well, we all know why. We all know why, but I don't know why they're doing it.
Aye, but just look at football as a whole.
Yep.
Like, look at our game at the weekend, Tynecastle, Ibrox, whatever. There's more people there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, mate, it's madness. Like, what's the point in going through nearly 36 months, roughly, give or take, to just go back to square one? Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it.
Obviously, as well, Barbie, as you mentioned, this is as a serious thing. People have died, and I'm not taking that away for this full thing. I'm just talking for this as a football fan perspective. I'm trying not to talk about the other side of the thing. But it's a football podcast. I'm trying to just talk about the football side of it. But as I say, JP, we've all got your opinions on it. But I just think it's like we've had a wee laugh and joke there about the 500. How can you just plug that out there? Even Big Chris Sutton said it. Where are you pulling this for? Where are you pulling? There's other guys on Twitter were pulling it for. I could understand if he maybe halved it, right? Maybe 25,000. Fine, some of these might get a game, some of these no. The game will still have fans, it'll still be fine. And see the thing as well, see if there was fans, right? How can Rangers have a full crowd during when it was maybe at the peak, but yet we can't have any fans, but it's maybe all right? It's got to be balanced. They can't be tit for tat. That's the way it's looking to me. I don't know if that's wrong, but something's got to be done. And if it is a winter break getting put forward, then I think it's the best solution, because we need fans. Football is all about fans, as a Big Ange says. And as Celtic have always said in the past, football without fans, it's a different game, total different game.
No, and I'm totally with you, mate. And I thought by the way, hats off to Celtic right away. Boom, out with a statement.
Yep.
So hats off. They're looking after number one, and they know how we're going to feel. They know how this is going to impact us, and they know there's going to be a lot of bitter replies. If that's a better word to use. Are going to be getting text into the club and emailed into the club, and people are going to be. There's guys going to be going, "What's happening to my money? Then I paid for a full season book. This is happening again. Here we go." And the club don't want that. They don't want to. They don't want to have to deal with us. Dishing out virtual passports and all that again, and they don't want to go down that road again, guys. Do you know what I mean? We thought we'd turned the corner. And you're vaccinated as well. Some of us are free jags. So come on, me personally, this is just something we're going to have to live with. I've got young kids, mate, and I don't want it to get every 10, 11 months and we're going to get locked up again with the government.
Nah, it's no fair.
I don't want them growing up watching it.
It's no fair.
Why can you only go that way in Tesco, Daddy? Why can you only go that way in Morrison's? Why can you? Do you know what I mean? And they've got to then stay on a trolley. They can't go walkies, and it's unbelievable. And then things are going to start like implicating it. Like here's another thing as well. A beauty. So the carnival's not to shut. So that's known as an indoor seating event. So what? But it's still a congregation of
people.
How are you going to limit the numbers of people there? You're going to. So same again. Concerts. It's got to see concerts. All the pantomimes are probably going to be stopped now. So there's all the bands missing out and all the pantomimes. Oh yeah, Christmas. It's just bollocks in my opinion. There's got to be another way of being able to do this. I understand maybe there's other countries have took, they've went into complete lockdowns. And even that's a bit, you're like, come on. These streets, you've seen these streets in Amsterdam. They're totally ghost towns again, and places in Italy and places in Germany. And okay, we don't want the football back behind closed doors. But it's funny how a certain team does, but you know what I mean? Because that's the only way that team seems to know how to perform. Because as soon as our fans are there, it becomes squeaky bum time for quite one or a few members of the squad. But no, it's no good at all. Am I surprised? No, I'm not. Because as Sam says, every turn something goes wrong. It's normally the first protocol. Let's stop them. Let football's the go-to, the first thing. That seems to be on the list. And it's just people who are not really into football. Politics and football are different worlds apart. They should be kept like that. It shouldn't be being intermingled or being intervened with. Football's got a governing body. Okay, this is government guidelines, but football's got a governing body, and it's their duty to do what they see fit for the sport. No Nicola Sturgeon and our pals. But my only thing is, guys, maybe there's a couple of cheese and wine nights coming back up again, and that's all they need is all to stay in again. That'll remain to be seen, but maybe Mr. Johnson's got a viral, a virtual party happening that you're not privy to, and it's all cheese and wine, and
my
fingers getting stuck up to us.
That's what we should do anyway. In the centre of Giant, just take cheese and wine and say we're in the party, boys. Let us in.
By the way, it's all right, and don't worry about it. We're only having a laugh. There's no social distancing, because that's as if that's allowed.
I know, but as I say, it's been another eventful podcast. Obviously, the last, but I know people say why you talk about it. Again, it's the day with the football, and I think it's something we need to speak about. Again, if we can highlight it and somebody else listens to it and highlights it, then fair enough. But I think it's no fair in the fact that some people have only got football, and I understand safety is paramount, but you've got to look at some aspects and you've got to give things a bit of leeway. And we support and get back to square one again. But again, won the cup final, very, very positive weekend. Hopefully another positive game tomorrow and result. And then obviously, hopefully have a good Christmas and whatever else happens for there, we'll obviously take for there for the government and the SFA. But as I say, lads, hopefully a good result tomorrow. And obviously have a good Christmas with your family, guys. Hey ho, Sam, JP, take care.
Hail, Ryan. Hail, Sam. Merry Christmas, guys. See you later.